Alright, today we're going to talk about fractions, decimals, and percents. So every fraction is just a division problem waiting to happen. So here we have 4/25, so you'd write that as a division problem. 4 divided by 25. 25 won't go into 4, so we add a decimal and a 0. 25 goes into 40 once. Subtract, you get 15, add another 0. And 25 will go into 156 times. So our decimal for 4/25 is 1600ths. And then 1600ths, we can make that a percent by moving our decimal to the right twice. So 1600ths would equal 16%. If you wanted to just go from a fraction to a percent, you would have to make your denominator out of 100 by using equivalent fractions. So 4/25, to get that equal to something over 100, I'm going to have to multiply by 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. So we get 1600ths as a fraction, and since it's out of 100, that means it's also our percent, so 16%. Alright, so if we start with a decimal of 3800ths, we can make that a percent. Move your decimal twice, equals 38%. If we want to make it a fraction, you just put it over its place value. So that's 3800ths, so it would be 38 over 100. And then simplify, you can divide both those by 2, which would equal 19 over 50. So our simplified fraction would be 19/50. Alright, so now if we start with the percent, 44 5/10%, and want to make that a decimal, we're going to still move that decimal twice. We're just going to move it the other direction, so we're going to go to the left. So that would equal 445 thousandths. Write that as a fraction, 445 thousandths, and then simplify. So we can divide both those by 5, and we'll get 445 divided by 5 is 89, and 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. So our simplified fraction is 89/200ths. Right, one more thing we're going to do is order these from least to greatest. And here we have a percent, a decimal, and a fraction. Well, we need to get these all to be the same format in order to compare them. So to me, the easiest thing to do would either be make them all percents or make them all decimals. So I'm going to make them all percents. So that first one is 23 2/10%. It doesn't change because it already is a percent. The 2400ths, we're going to move that decimal twice. So that's going to equal 24%. And then the 7/20ths, I can either do 7 divided by 20, or I can figure out what I need to multiply 20 by to get to 100. So I'm going to multiply that by 5, and we get 35 over 100. So that means it equals 35%. So now I can order these from least to greatest, and just happens to be they are in order from least to greatest. But when you write them, make sure you write them as their original format. So 23 2/10%, 2400ths, and 7/20ths. And also be careful that sometimes it's going to ask you to go from greatest to least. If it did that, we would need to reverse our order. So just pay attention to what the question's asking you to do.